In late 2007, the Iraq War is slowing down, President Shrub has pronounced triumph, and remaking tasks are active. Sergeant Matthews and his spotter Sergeant Isaac are shipped off a pipeline development in the Iraqi desert. Every one of the Americans working at the site have been killed, so presently it is their central goal to find the guilty party before they send new manufacturers. The fighters take cover behind a lot of shrubberies and stones to watch the area under the dissolving sun, and 20 hours pass without anything occurring. Matthew starts becoming eager and begins to think there are no Iraqi fighters left, and taking into account the dissipated bodies, the site probably been gone after by a group that left subsequent to finishing their main goal. Isaac brings up there are no signs showing a major gathering moving around here, and brings up that since every one of the laborers were killed by headshots, this might have been finished by the unbelievable expert Iraqi sharpshooter known as Juba. Be that as it may, Matthews thinks it is outside the realm of possibilities for anybody to kill this number of individuals in under 30 seconds. Ultimately, Matthews at last becomes weary of stalling and goes down to investigate the area subsequent to requesting that Isaac cover for him. Isaac makes sense of his degree as becoming hazy, and Matthews prods him for not transforming it sooner, but rather this one is significant for Isaac since it used to have a place with a fallen companion. Then Matthews goes from one body to another searching for signs and starts accepting Isaac's hypothesis when he affirms everybody passed on from exact headshots. He goes to the center of the site to sort out the conceivable course of the shots while Isaac beseeches him to withdraw. However, out of nowhere a shot is heard and Matthews tumbles to the ground, experiencing extraordinary agony in his midsection. Frantic to help his companion, Isaac runs down in a crisscross way to stay away from any approaching projectiles. However, when he is going to arrive at Matthews, he has chance in the leg. Isaac must choose the option to abandon Matthews and hurry to take cover behind a messed up wall. Enduring yet alive, Matthews contacts Isaac and advises them to call the base and request reinforcement. First, however, Isaac sees his leg wound is very dreadful, so he continues to attach a belt around it to stop the dying. Then he snatches his radio sack and attempts to contact the base, just to find he has no transmission in light of the fact that the expert rifleman had fired the receiving wire. Unexpectedly, Matthews reaches him once more and requests that he spot the expert marksman so he can focus on him, overlooking Isaac when he cautions him that the rifleman will see any development and shoot him in the future. Isaac begins dealing with making an opening in the wall with his blade to embed the degree, just to get his hand injured by a few falling rocks. Matthews then continues to endeavor to go after his rifle, just to pass out on account of blood misfortune. Not having any desire to end like his companion, Isaac utilizes an edge to eliminate the slug from his leg, which is an incredibly difficult cycle. Then, at that point, he gauzes the injury prior to dropping too. In a little while, Isaac awakens when he hears a bizarre commotion coming from his earpiece. It ends up being an official from the base, and Isaac quickly starts revealing the circumstance and asking for clinical supplies. Anyway, he starts to get dubious when the official asks him bunches of unusual inquiries, and in particular, he demands him to either let them know his careful position or stand up and fire in the air, guaranteeing it is for the helicopters to precisely drop the provisions. Isaac brings up this is against convention and will seriously endanger him. And when he starts focusing closer on the man's words, he understands his intonation isn't American. This is Juba the marksman, who has hacked into the radio frequencies to attempt to lay out a snare. Isaac doesn't get bulldozed and gets down on him, however rather than hanging up, Juba starts asking him inquiries, guaranteeing he needs to realize Isaac better. Isaac attempts the radio once more, yet it is as yet not working. Juba demands making his senseless inquiries, and when Isaac won't visit back, Juba compromises with shooting Matthews once more, which is unsafe on the grounds that there is an opportunity he is as yet alive. Isaac consents to talk for some time and requests that Juba go first while he starts drawing a guide of the site on the soil to compute the projectile direction and track down the conceivable area of the rifleman. Juba lets him know he is only a customary Iraqi resident that needs to save his nation and get some information about his family, yet Isaac brings up that is excessively private. Then Isaac ridicules Juba's thinking, saying that he is killing individuals that are really attempting to foster the nation by bringing schools, pipelines, and frameworks that will support the nearby economy. This makes Juba snicker, and he makes sense of that the cash made here will be sent back to the USA later. Over the long haul, Juba continues to seek clarification on pressing issues, however Isaac keeps on declining to say anything individual regarding himself, causing Juba to take steps to shoot Matthews once more.
Anyway, Isaac doesn't accept him any longer.
To demonstrate he is risky, Juba tells Isaac the name of the past proprietor of the extension and that he is dead, citing Matthews' prior prodding.
This implies Juba has been paying attention to their discussions since they showed up.
Utilizing his degree, Isaac sees one of the dead men has a radio with them and he hauls his body to the edge of the wall. However, not in any event, utilizing a piece of wood, he would have the option to arrive at it without uncovering himself. Then, Isaac attempts to hydrate from his jug just to find it void in light of an opening in it, which Juba affirms he did deliberately. He additionally concedes he missed no shots. He explicitly shot the container, the receiving wire, and Isaac's leg to place Isaac in an unescapable circumstance and make him kick the bucket gradually, which he will appreciate hearing through the communicator. At the point when Isaac finds the slug he removed his leg, he investigates and starts working out the weapon model Juba has by making a few slippery inquiries. He likewise calls Juba a psychological militant, which makes Juba chuckle again as he brings up that the Americans are the ones wrongfully entering an outside country with weapons prepared to kill individuals. While Juba talks, Isaac does an additional computations and glances through his extension to at last arrive at the resolution that Juba is concealing under an immense heap of junk. He has been under these cruel circumstances for a significant length of time, also the mind-boggling heat, meaning this person genuinely is an expert. Once more anyway, Juba denies being the popular sharpshooter and cases to be a standard Iraqi man. In light of his highlight, Isaac surmises Juba should be a previous U.S. Armed Force official that deceived them. However, Juba excuses this too and makes sense of he just kills individuals that assault him first. Consequently, Isaac shares the tale of how he met his dearest companion when he was a youngster and how they enrolled together later as grown-ups. Before long, drying out and fatigue starts scarcely affecting Isaac, who tumbles to the ground as he hears Juba let him know he will staple his tongue to his chest. Then, Isaac attempts to deceive Juba by getting into a coat and protective cap his rifle and waving it over the wall. However, Juba doesn't get bulldozed. What falls is the cap, arrival on the opposite side of the wall, so presently Isaac cannot safeguard his head by the same token. Such a senseless error is the killing point and makes him cry. Additional time elapses, and Isaac becomes sufficiently frantic to attempt to face a challenge. He runs towards a body lying on the ground and takes his pack and radio prior to running back to the wall as he avoids every one of the disasters Juba promptly tosses at him. Clinched up, Isaac finds water and some treats that he quickly eats up, yet this radio isn't working either, sadly. Juba additionally rebuffs him for this gamble by taking shots at the wall and vigorously harming his scoper. Out of nowhere, Isaac hears some unsettling influence coming from his earpiece and acknowledges it is Matthews, who is as yet alive. Isaac shouts the area of the marksman at him, and Matthews promptly takes out a piece of metal to use to check out at the heap of trash. While Matthews moves very leisurely to snatch his rifle, Isaac keeps the sharpshooter diverted by making casual banter, and he discovers that Juba used to be an educator in Baghdad. At the point when his understudies wound up dead during an American assault, he chose to pursue retribution. The wall Isaac is taking cover behind is the remnants of said school. Then Juba asks Isaac while he continues to convey the harm scope, yet since Isaac won't reply, Juba takes steps to shoot Matthews once more. Frantic to save him, Isaac admits that he keeps the degree in memory of his close buddy, who passed on due to a slip-up Isaac made. He actually feels regretful. Meanwhile, Matthews puts his rifle and indiscriminately focuses on the heap of rubbish, taking shots at every one of the projectiles he has as Isaac shoots, also to imagine the commotion comes from him. At the point when Matthews is going to reload his firearm, Juba out of nowhere fires him back, hitting him right on the shoulder. Isaac requests that Matthews creep toward him to track down while being behind the wall, yet tragically when Isaac goes near the edge to help, Juba shoots Matthews in the head. Isaac needs to watch him bite the dust. Lastly snaps directly into a breakdown, saying he needs to return home. Juba illuminates Isaac that to leave then he won't shoot him, however Isaac has one or two serious doubts. Afterward, Juba asks Isaac for what valid reason he is still there in spite of the conflict being now finished. Isaac stops briefly prior to answering he is there since it was really he who killed his close buddy. It turns out he unintentionally shot his past rifleman accomplice while attempting to kill an adversary, and Isaac has been misleading everybody, saying his companion had been killed by the troublemakers. Unexpectedly, Isaac hears some commotion emerging from the radio and races to actually look at the transmission, being glad to hear discussions going on. Anyway, his joy is fleeting on the grounds that while he can hear voices, he cannot send any messages in light of the harm the radio took. To Isaac's shock, Juba joins the discussion he is hearing, and the man utilizes Isaac's name to request help. Isaac at last understands that this time Juba has been hacking into American interchanges, professing to be a warrior requiring help to bait reinforcement groups to the area and kill them all effectively because of the unexpected variable. Isaac attempts to interfere with the discussion without much of any result. In a little while, Isaac awakens to the difficult sensation of a crow pecking on his leg wound. Seeing as even the birds think he is as of now dead, Isaac chooses to face a challenge and recovers Matthew's rifle utilizing a few rope and a stick, then he points it at the heap of garbage. At that point, helicopters show up at the area and uncover Isaac's area without realizing this is a snare. Needing to save the approaching warriors, Isaac pushes the wall to make it disintegrate, making a shade of residue that makes it difficult for Juba to get Isaac's area. Isaac starts taking shots at the heap of rubbish without knowing whether he has hit his objective or not. To find out, Isaac at last stands up from his situation, and he is stunned to see Juba isn't utilizing this opportunity to shoot back. This causes Isaac to accept he has successfully killed Juba. Before long, the helicopters show up and immediately divert Isaac on a cot, quickly focusing on him. Isaac attempts to inform them concerning Juba, yet he cannot be heard on account of the commotion from the helicopters taking off. Abruptly, Juba begins taking shots at them, killing the clinical troopers individually prior to stirring things up around town also. The helicopter rapidly goes down and crashes on the ground, in a split second killing Isaac and permitting Juba to stay faithful to his commitments. In fact, Isaac had not been shot. Then, at that point, Juba hacks into the USA lines once more and claims to be an American fighter to bait his next group of casualties.